The AP poll should be abolished. All right, maybe abolish is a little bit strong, but there definitely needs to be a change in the way that this poll is conducted going forward. It seems like every week there is controversy with the AP poll, and it seems like there never is any consistency. They don't have any rhyme or reason for why they move teams down. Some weeks, a team will barely get beaten by a higher ranked team and they'll drop significantly. But in other weeks, there'll be a similar situation. A team gets beat by a team that's ranked higher than them, and they only move down a few spots. And don't get me started on the preseason polls. The AP preseason polls are especially bad. Let's look at this year's preseason poll. At number 1, we had Texas. At 2, we had Penn State. At 3, Ohio State. 4, Clemson. 5, Georgia. Do you notice anything with those top 4 teams? 3 of them are now unranked and have 2 losses. And in the top 10, 5 of those teams are no longer ranked in the top 10. We have teams like A&M ranked 19th, and they're looking like they have a real good shot to win the conference championship. Same thing with Ole Miss. Miami was underranked sitting at 10, and now they're number 2. And then obviously Texas, Penn State, and Clemson are no longer ranked and do not look like they are very good football teams. So what's the issue with this? Why is there no consistency? Why do they get teams so wrong so often? See, the AP poll is more of a average of polls. It's made up of a bunch of different polls. See, the pollsters, or the people who do the poll, are all beat reporters for other teams or journalists that are attached to another team and they write for a newspaper or a media outlet. And there's 2 big problems with this. The first and the most obvious is that there's a human bias element there, right? You spend a lot of your time around one team, you make connections with one team, you make friends and friendly relationships with players and coaches on one team, you're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like if a stranger ran up to you on the street and said that your friend did something terrible, but that's your friend and you're gonna give your friend the benefit of the doubt there. And no matter how hard beat writers or pollsters try to avoid this, it's just human nature. They're never going to fully avoid this. And the second problem, and one that's a little bit less obvious, is the fact that beat reporters don't get to watch as many games as fans do, right? A typical Saturday for a beat reporter is going to be showing up to the stadium that their team that they're covering is playing at, and then watching warm-ups, and they're looking for a guy wearing a knee brace who wasn't wearing a knee brace before, or a guy that is listed as questionable but is going through full warm-ups. They're trying to get intel or trying to get talking points for their game recaps or for their stories they're working on. Then they'll usually go up to the press box, and in the press box they'll watch their team play, and they have to pay pretty close attention. And while there may be a TV or they may be streaming another game, they're not really paying attention to it. They're paying attention to the team that they're covering on the field so they can write their story. And then after the game, they're going to go down to the field and try to talk to coaches or talk to players, and then go into the locker room and interview players on how the game went and ask the questions we all see them asking when there's 10 different people with microphones in a player's face in the locker room. Then they're going to go back to their house or back to their office, somewhere that's quiet where they can write their story and write the recap of the game. And while they're there, again, they may have a TV on or they may be streaming a game, but they're focused on writing that story. They have a deadline they have to hit to get that story out, and it's usually going to be the same day or at the very latest early the next morning. And you can see the problem with this when you start looking at it like that. They're not going to have enough time to watch all the games that me and you and fans of college football will be able to watch. And so they may miss large parts of the game if they catch any at all. They might see that one team is blowing out another team and dominating early in the game and then miss a late comeback and then drop the losing team significantly because they only saw part of the game. Or the opposite, they may see a close game early and then miss a team completely fall off in the fourth quarter and get dominated, and so they don't drop them as much. And I don't blame the AP poll voters for getting it wrong. They have a tough job to do. They have a job where they have to be reporting on a specific team or they're not getting paid. But I think we can all see when you take these 2 elements, you can clearly tell that there is not going to be a really good poll because these guys don't know or have their biases. But when you look at these 2 elements, you can tell that there's never going to be a really good poll. And the reason for this is because people have their biases and they're not watching the games that we're all watching. But this doesn't excuse it. There's really no reason why 3 of the top 4 teams should have been so wrong in the preseason polls. I understand being wrong on some. Texas and Arch Manning being as bad as they are is a big surprise to a lot of people, myself included. But I really don't see how teams like Penn State, who have had problems winning big games and problems winning games with James Franklin in the past, should have been ranked that high. Or Clemson, who had a good finish last year but didn't have a great season last year, and they didn't get a whole lot better. We've all known as fans that Dabo had a problem in the NIL era, and nothing got done in the offseason to fix that. So how you move them to number 3 in the preseason poll, I won't understand. So, what's the solution to the AP poll? Well, there really isn't a good alternative right now. You have people that have their own polls that they'll put out. Look at Josh Pate, who has the JP poll. But there's really no aggregate like the AP poll, where you're getting a lot of people that are voicing their opinions and ranking these teams and taking the average. And the AP poll has been around forever. It's always going to have that trust factor because of that. We have a lot of national championships before the 90s when the national championship game started that were based solely on the AP rankings and who the AP said was the national champion that year. But the AP needs to get rid of these beat writers watching games. They already have a lot on their plate, and they're not going to be able to get a look at all of college football when they're focused on one team. Instead, they should be giving votes to people that aren't covering specific games but are still in the media. People that are sitting down like fans and watching games all day on Saturday, flipping between channels or having multiple screens up and watching every second of college football that they can. And if you take a bunch of these people and you put them all together and put their poll together, you really have another AP poll, or have the AP poll, but with different voices, people that know more about college football. And in a world that is hyper connected, we can go on TV on a Saturday and watch almost every college football game. We can look at scores on our phone. We can look at box scores. We can stream games on our phones if we're not home. There's really no excuse to let the people that focus on one team decide the ranking. And I get it. In today's football, the AP poll doesn't really matter as much as it used to, right? We have the college football playoff committee that's deciding who makes it to the playoffs. But these are still talking points early. And the AP poll still releases every week on Sunday, and people still talk about it all week. And you still see that number next to the team's name, and it does carry some weight. And as time goes on and AP polls start getting it more and more wrong, which it seems like they're doing these days, and college football fans continue to watch college football at the rate that they do and watch every game that they can, the AP poll will just get less and less trustworthy. And the AP poll getting less and less trustworthy and becoming irrelevant is something I don't want to see. So AP poll, please figure something out to get better. These polls lately this season have been horrible. Now, let me know in the comments how you feel about the AP poll. If you think that there is something that can save it, if you think that it's pretty accurate and the times that they're wrong are understandable, or if you would want to see it just abolished for good. And don't forget to like and subscribe, as it tells the algorithm to push more college football to your feed.